Alyssa Hoberer of Full Frame Beer, and this is the Brewer to Brewer podcast from All About Beer. My guest is Rob Bessett of Milieu Fermentation Company, and he is here for a conversation that goes beyond the brew house and into topics that matter to brewing professionals and curious beer drinkers. First, please visit allaboutbeer.com and follow on social media at allaboutbeer. And to support journalism in the beer space, check out allaboutbeer.com/support. We'll get into the conversation in just a moment, but first, this message.
Today's episode is brought to you by StompStickers.com, trusted by thousands of breweries across the country. They've been printing for over 30 years, and they know beer branding inside and out. Whether you need beer labels, keg collars, coasters, beer boxes, or more, they've got the expertise you need, all backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Try your first run with StompStickers.com and get 15% off with code TRY15. That's TRY15 by visiting StompStickers.com. This German flavor break is brought to you by Weyermann Specialty Malts, crafted in Bamberg, Germany, and trusted by brewers worldwide for depth, color, and flavor. With a portfolio of over 90 malts, Weyermann provides the tools to build anything from crisp pilsners with Pilsner Malt to rich Märzens layered with Munich and Vienna. Even complex dark beers using Caramunich and Special W. Whether you're refining a classic European style or pushing modern recipes, order Weyermann from RahrBSG. As an industry-leading keg management partner, Keg Logistics delivers premium stainless steel kegs with the flexibility you truly need. Whether you're kegging your first batch or scaling your distribution, choose the program that fits. Rent to own, flexible term leasing, or pay per fill. Get top-quality kegs without massive upfront costs and terms that grow with you. Thousands of brewers, cider makers, and wineries trust Keg Logistics to keep production flowing. Head to keglogistics.com/allaboutbeer for your custom quote. Keg Logistics, your kegs, your choice.
Welcome, and I'm very pleased to have Rob Bessett as my guest today. Rob Bessett is a co-owner and head brewer at Milieu Fermentation in Aurora, Colorado. He came to Colorado by way of Chicago and came up in brewing at a handful of breweries across the Centennial State before opening Milieu in 2024. These days, alongside running the brewery, he's building a small gourmet mushroom cultivation company, Milieu Mushrooms. Turns out a lot of what makes a good brewer, sterile technique, parameter control, and an obsession with process, translates pretty well to mycology. He's interested in how agriculture, fermentation, biology, and production systems all rhyme with each other, and is always game to talk shop over a few pints. Welcome, Rob. Welcome.
Good morning. Hello, Alyssa.
To
Thanks for having me.
Heck yeah. I'm excited to chat with you because we've kind of like known each other for a little bit, but I guess I was thinking the other day, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know about your history. I think I know like a little bit, like obviously you came from Chicago. I know you and Andrew opened up Milieu, but I kind of want to start off with like diving a little bit more into how did you get into brewing? What brought you to Colorado? What's kind of been like a brief like career path of yours?
Absolutely. Yeah. So taking it way back to the Chicago days. So born and raised on the South Side and surrounding neighborhoods of Chicago, and really came into beer as a drinker first, naturally. But started my homebrew journey. That probably would have been winter of 2016, or no, 2015. So the winter after graduating, first time. So my background is in biology and chemistry. So that's what I studied kind of the first time through. And so really did my first brewing tour at Revolution Brewing. One of the OGs, drank a lot of Half Acre and all the OGs back home. And so I got my first Mr. Beer kit. Started off with the Mr. Beer Oktoberfest, and was hooked ever since. So really started out home brewing in the kitchen, on the stove, in the colander, and just like
Me too.
as we all should. and just really fell in love with it. And it's pretty cliche to say, but blends the science and the artistry together. So yeah, fell in love pretty quick. Got really obsessed and passionate about it. So it was around that time I met my girlfriend, now wife, and we decided to pick up and move to Colorado. Her sister was living out here with her husband, and we were definitely looking for a change after some career shifts and deciding what we wanted to do. So we ended up here in Colorado. I decided to go to CSU and do their fermentation science program. Um, I kind of made the decision that I was going to give brewing a shot out here professionally, just kind of see where it takes me. And I thought doing that program would kind of jumpstart my career, hopefully get me in somewhere faster and could really just accelerate the learning process there. So was in that program for I think 18 months. Was able to graduate, and while I was there, I was working up at Big Thompson in Loveland with Kurt and Barb. So got my start there. Got my boots wet, we'll say. And after that, I graduated and shifted over to Verboten Brewing, also in Loveland, and spent a few years there. Really cutting my teeth, I feel like, in the industry, and did a ton of brewing, ton of experimentation. Got to really dive into barrels and barrel aging, which as a home brewer never really got to experiment with until Andrew and I got into a bigger garage space and started brewing at 1.5 barrel system. So it was around the time I moved out here that I actually ended up meeting Andrew and my business partner, for everyone who doesn't know. He's also from Chicago, but we ended up linking up back out here, and he also had an interest in drinking beer, and I somehow convinced him to start brewing with me and making him grain out for me, and eventually convince him to leave a lucrative career in accounting and go on this crazy journey of opening a brewery with me. So yeah, back to Verboten. Ended up moving back towards Denver, so took a position in this space where I'm at now, Milieu, formerly Ursula Brewery, and was the head brewer there for a few years before having the opportunity to take over the space. And Andrew and I came in and with renovations for 4 months and got our doors open. So that's
Heck
kind of
yeah.
the long arc, I
Yeah.
suppose.
I know. I feel like you've been in the industry a little bit longer than I have, but I feel like we're similar in the way that I was the brewer at Jagged Mountain for, 6 years, and then Jacob and I took over the spot. So how did you feel, like what was your experience with being at a brewery, working for somebody, and then suddenly like taking it over and being the owner? Like, how was that transition for you and how did it feel?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I feel that having the ability to take, especially in this current market, having the ability to take over any existing space is super beneficial for anyone that's wanting to open up at this time. Because unfortunately, tons of people are going out of business, and
Mm.
but there's definitely still opportunity for people to come in and make good beer and kind of carry the torch per se. So um, I felt really lucky to have the opportunity here, and I imagine you feel the same because you can't really be blindsided with any issues coming into the space. You already know what's working, what's not working, what needs to change, demographic of the neighborhood or the area you're in. And you
Mhm.
can kind of work a little bit better and plan a little bit better as far as how you're going to run your own show. So I don't know,
Yeah.
did you feel the same kind of going into Jagged's old space? And
Yeah, I think I was a little bit nervous because I knew like a lot of things that were on the verge of breaking or
Mhm.
that like didn't work very well. But I think that experience is like a lot better knowing it ahead of time instead of getting into somewhere and being like, oh shit, you know?
Yeah,
So yeah, I totally get that. And it is like I'm sure you guys had a similar experience. It's a buyer's market, like we got an incredible deal buying Jagged's, all their equipment and being able to open, and especially like as career brewers, like it was we needed a cheap price because we don't
Yep.
have a ton of money, you know? But yeah, I didn't realize that you and Andrew didn't meet in Chicago, which is interesting because you're both from Chicago.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were more acquaintances. So I was actually friends with his roommate that both Shannon, my wife, and I worked with at
Okay,
a psych hospital, of all things.
nice.
So he was my boss, and yeah, we ended up hanging out, and Andrew and would just be kind of in the background,
Yeah.
just hitting him with the what's up. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I ended up moving out here before him, and I looked at their apartment
Hmm.
for him and gave it the thumbs up. Met him over at Station 26 for a beer after.
Nice.
The
Heck
rest
yeah.
is history.
Rest is history.
Sunk my
So,
claws into him.
yeah, right. So, I mean, obviously, we also have similarities as where we opened a business, a brewery specifically with a friend. Um,
Hmm.
but I think y'all's dynamic is a little bit different because Jacob and I have been, both brewers for the same amount of time. But I find it interesting your dynamic with Andrew because he wasn't really a brewer before. How do you think that that has been like owning a business over the past few years? Like, is there anything that has like surprised you or like what kind of things do you guys specialize in? Obviously, you're the brewers, so you're making all the beer. Andrew obviously has a background of accounting, so he takes care of, all the books and stuff. But like, what other ways do you guys find ways to work together or to kind of separate out duties, I guess?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we knew immediately going into this that we were going to essentially have to, divide and conquer all these different tasks. And we knew we were going to have a small team. I mean, production right now is just me and then Andrew helping out with packaging and whatnot.
Hmm.
But as far as like the duty split, um, we had a in the business plan pretty early on that I was going to handle everything as far as back of house, production, cellaring, and then he would assist in packaging and then kind of taking it from there, managing the sales aspect. So he's working with accounts we work with directly. He was the point of contact, and then as far as scheduling everything with distribution. So um,
Hmm.
really frees up a lot of my time to focus on beer quality. Um, I feel very fortunate that we've had growth since opening, and
Hmm.
um, it's great. But I've just gotten busier and busier, and um, having that the split in our roles has really allowed us to keep going at the pace we are. So
Hmm.
um, having that, yeah, that dynamic is great, and I couldn't do what he does as far as the accounting and the books, and um, he's an absolute Excel wizard.
Yeah.
It's impressive when he really gets into it. So I'll keep my flow state in the brewery. He can stay on in Excel.
Yeah. I mean, speaking from experience, Andrew's been helping me out a ton with the books and accounting and stuff because neither Jacob or I have any experience in that. So that has been an interesting adventure, but no, he's been super helpful. So happy to have a friend like that and obviously a friend in you too. Um,
Likewise, buddy.
So, getting into brewing a little bit, tell me, I've seen your brew house, but tell me a little bit about your brew house. Like, what's the size? How many tanks do you have? What's going on back there?
Yeah, so it's a on paper 10-barrel brew house, two vessel system, steam fed. It's an older system from China, so it has its quirks, but it definitely works. It's hands on, no rakes, all manual paddling and
Yeah.
mashing in. But at the end of the day, it makes good beer. I'm able to do some really interesting things. I just feel like the only thing really good going on is I have a nice manifold system, so I can at least move wort around easily. So
Hmm.
allows us to experiment. Um, so with that 10-barrel brew house, we have four 10-barrel fermenters and one 30-barrel fermenter that primarily really only sees hazy IPA,
Hmm.
which we've uh, thankfully have been able to make a lot of. So
Yeah.
I'm happy
Um,
about it.
yeah, I mean I feel like that's something that it seems like you guys specialize in specifically is hazy IPA. I mean, every time I go there, I try something new and delicious. So I definitely kind of want to dive into that a little bit. Do you feel like that's something when you first open that you wanted to start brewing? Is are like hazy IPAs like something that you're passionate about or, you know?
I'd say I've always been a proper haze boy from the start. So I've always loved hops and highly expressioned hoppy beers. Intensity of hop flavors and aromas has always been alluring to me. But no, initially, because we started, the idea of milieu started a long time ago when we were home brewing on his patio in that apartment I went and looked at for him, and did not really involve a lot of hazy IPA. We were making it,
Yeah.
not with a ton of success at a homebrew scale, but
Yeah.
we were really focused on like big barrel aged stouts, barley wines, quads, Belgians, mixed
Mhm.
culture beers. Um, so throughout the planning process, we really thought we were going to be focused on barrels and wood and blending. But yeah, as time progressed, and we just realized that you have to ebb and flow with the market, and we decided
Mhm.
just to dig in deep with hoppy beers, and it's
Yeah.
been really fun. And I still love to make them. I love to drink them.
Mhm.
Um, I'd say I'm equally as passionate about it at this point as I am with oak and barrel aging, but there's just aren't as many volumetric opportunities there, we'll say. But we still have a
Yeah.
few barrels floating around. But yeah, initially the first plan, we thought we were going to open up a spot and mash into a punch in similar to like what Wildflower's doing, and
Okay.
yeah, doing everything in oak, maybe a copper kettle or something that was wood fired, like
Yeah.
really, really rustic
Hmm.
farmhouse kind of style brewing. Um, thank God I'm not doing that every day. It would be terrible, but that was,
Yeah,
yeah, that was the original idea.
I love that though, because like I feel like I had like a similar, before I even thought about opening a brewery, I always had like kind of the fantasy of, brewing in the woods somewhere and being able to like
Mhm.
forage all my ingredients and it be super, like manual, not a lot of fancy things going on. And then like when you actually start doing it and doing production brewing, you're like, oh, that doesn't really make any sense. But it would be fun. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
it's a
that's
lot easier when
interesting.
you're in your early 20s and you're like,
Yeah,
yeah, this is easy.
yeah, right.
You hit 30 and game over.
Yeah, yeah. Game over, man. Yeah, I like the kind of shift, which, and also it's good to hear that you're equally as passionate about hazy IPAs at this point as you were back then about barrel aged stuff. And I do want to talk to you about some barrel aged stuff because I know you have a big history with that. You've like won at FOBAB in the past. So, but first I kind of want to talk about the hazies a little bit more. What like what's your do you have like a grain bill that you use for every single hazy like a base thing or do you change it up all the time? Like do you feel comfortable sharing that?
Absolutely. It varies, honestly. And I'm always playing around, pulling levers. But there's definitely a underlying philosophy, I suppose, behind it. So everything as far as haze kind of starts on just a really pale Pilsner
Mm-hmm.
base. We use a lot of North Star pills, but Gambrinus pills or some local maltsters here, Troubadour and Root Shoot have some low color um, Pilsner malt that play really well in those styles, and just kind of getting into that and following that trend of just keeping things pale and low color. So we're pretty high in what we do as far as adjunct. I don't have any numbers in front of me, but I'd say we're probably in the 35 to 45 range, kind of depending what we're trying to do or what the hop bill is. And that's largely right now. being malted oats, um,
Hmm.
kind of being the main driver of that adjunct profile. But we still get some uh, pale wheat. Um,
Hmm.
Nothing crazy. I'd say we're probably closer to like 8 to 10% wheat, and then the rest being made up with some sort of oat combination. And these days, I've been playing around a lot with different uh, malted oat providers to feel, especially the further and further we push these hoppy beers with um, just dry hop rates and these different flowable products. Um, Kind of balancing that on top of just like that sweeter, creamier, vanilla
Hmm.
like kind of creme base. Um, and I feel a lot of that's derived from that oat material. So really been
Yeah.
exploring that. Um, it's nice because we get a lot of reps in that realm. So uh, what else is in there? Yeast. What else makes beer? Uh, Yeast. Um, we have played around with yeast quite a bit.
Hmm.
Um, right now, we're using the BSI A72 strain, which
Okay.
is really unique yeast strain. It's kind of gained a lot of traction and popularity here in the last year or so, I feel. But we've recently gotten it in and have been just kind of pushing the boundaries of that. Really low pitching rates, um,
Hmm.
just keeping fermentation low uh, initially, and then driving it up a little bit in temperature when we start getting hops into there.
Yeah.
Um,
What's your like what do you aim for your finishing gravity? Like do you change that up as well, or do you have like a pretty set range that you want to end up at?
it's variable. It's gone up over time in general. When we first started, I prefer personally things in the mid threes to low fours.
Hmm.
But we've been pushing that. I'd say these days we're probably finishing closer to the five range, the mid fives,
Hmm.
in general. But with certain beers, I'll drive that up depending on alcohol or just the amount of vegetal matter I'm going to be adding. So like quad we just brewed recently, finished at 12%, and we dried that down to like seven Plato, but feel
Okay.
something like that as aggressively hopped as it is.
Hmm.
Works well with the sweetness of the alcohol and everything and
Yeah.
that. And it's definitely a sweet beer. But in general, I prefer to dry things out a little bit more. Um,
Hmm.
and I think you can just replicate that sweetness with that oat profile and other
Yeah,
adjunct material for sure.
for sure.
But
Yeah.
we're still mashing super high, at
Hmm.
least on our brew house. And with this new yeast strain, we're like 157,
Okay.
157.5 right now for
Hmm.
kind of targets. So and
Yeah.
still drying out to that mid 4 or 5 range.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, that's interesting. I honestly haven't really gotten a whole lot of like BSI yeast in the past. What's that like? What's the like background of that strain? Is it like a English ale yeast or
so I'm not
Latin?
100% sure where it's derived from, but they call it it's like American microbrewery yeast. I'm gonna look it up here
Okay.
really quick because we're on computers and we could do that. American microbrewery ale strain. Um, so it's super versatile because I know people that make um, bright beer, clear beers with it, with varying levels of success. But it also, yeah, when you load it up and treat it correctly with hops and treat it correctly and
Hmm.
fermentation, it does produce really stable haze. Um,
Interesting.
so it's interesting. It's a versatile yeast. I'm, yeah, still new to it, but getting the
Hmm.
hang of it. I'm super familiar with different inland island yeasts. I think
Hmm.
we're lucky to have some awesome yeast providers here in town. Um, but yeah, I just can't help myself from always needing
Branching out
to
a little
play
bit.
around with something. Yeah. So
I mean, I feel like that's kind of the trend of IPA in general, whether it's like West Coast or hazy. It's like there's always some kind of different process, different new thing that people are doing, different style that people are searching for. It feels like it's ever changing, which is always interesting, and especially like everybody does it a little bit different. It's not like a lager where, like a Pilsner, everybody pretty much has a similar, kind of process on how to do that. But yeah, hazy IPA or IPA in general, it's everybody that I talk to, they do things a little bit differently. So it's interesting. As far
Yeah,
as like what do you do any like water adjustments on your hazies at all?
yeah. So that's something relatively new as well for us. So we recently installed a RO reverse osmosis system, which has been definitely a game changer. It's
Yeah.
been it was a challenge initially, but not as much of a challenging as battling some of our incoming water as
Hmm.
far as like total hardness, bicarbonate load, and really, really high pHs in the mid eights. Yeah, we ended up just deciding to go full throttle with the RO system and haven't looked back. For the last 6 months, we've been building up all our water profiles from scratch, and have also been playing around in that space quite a bit. But it's within a range. I'm typically within the 2.5, 3 to 4 to 1 range, chloride to sulfate range. But in general, I like to keep my water pretty soft and try not to
Yeah,
overload in general with too many salts.
for sure. Yeah. And I also feel like it's pretty rare for especially a small brewery to have an RO system. Like that's pretty cool. Now, because now I feel like it opens up your world to a ton of different styles. Like you can get hyper
100%.
specific with your water profiles and make it very, traditional if you want to make something like that. Like it's really cool. I used to do that as when I was a home brewer. I would get, um, just not distilled, but RO water, and then kind of build my own profile. It's been a long time since I've done that, but it was always a lot of fun. So that's really cool.
No,
Um,
it's been an absolute game changer for sure. And
yeah.
it can be done cheaply, really. It's
Yeah.
if you have some low level understanding of basic plumbing, it's
Mhm.
you can get in there and install yourself for, I think I put it in for under 3 grand.
That's really
Um,
not bad. Yeah.
it's slow. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. It's like 500 gallons per day
Okay.
um, as far as flow rate, but
Yeah.
if you can adjust your schedule accordingly, it can be done. So
That's
yeah, if
interesting.
anybody has any questions regarding that, feel free to reach out. I'm
Hit me up.
happy to help. So water is important. So
Yeah, right. I love that. So a little bit about like hops. I feel like I haven't traditionally been a super hoppy brewer in the past, but working with Jacob has really opened my eyes to like selecting hops, doing like a hop build and hazy IPAs or clear IPAs. What do you start off whenever you are making a recipe with a flavor in mind that you want to achieve in the end, or are you a little bit more like experimental with the hops that you choose? I know you use a lot of like hop products as well. So tell me a little bit about like the process of you kind of building your hop schedule and what that looks like.
yeah, it's definitely more experimental than kind of starting from the end goal first.
Hmm.
Um, there's definitely some tools in the toolkit that I use frequently. The tried and trues, that being Citra. Um, and Nelson really for us drives a lot of our kind of, I guess we'll call it house hazy characters. Like our core beer is really driven by Citra and Nelson predominantly with a little bit of Nectaron. So kind of with that, I like to build off of things kind of slowly. I like doing smaller blends in general
Hmm.
of hops in the 2 to 3 range and just letting each one speak for themselves, and just kind of using, yeah, then backtracking with sensory and then making kind of subsequent decisions. And these days it's really difficult to keep up, but
Hmm.
it's also really easy to not do the same thing twice in a row.
Yeah.
Which I feel like hazy IPA gives you the luxury of being able to change those, whether they be single variables, and it can
Hmm.
express as an entirely different beer, which is really fun. And so I like looking for those things, and then yeah, determining back where that might be coming from, whether that's T90, cryo, flowable, what have
Hmm.
you. But um, yeah, it's an exciting time in the hop biz for sure.
It is. Yeah. I
Will
feel
keep
like
you on your toes.
yeah, every year there's like something new. That's interesting. And I think, especially for us like small brewers, like being able to get some of these really cool products and use them in our brew house is really exciting. Talk to me about like your hot side whenever you do like a hazy IPA. Are you doing anything in the boil? Are you doing like a cold whirlpool? How are you doing hops in there?
Yeah. So I'd say it's not completely unique, but a little bit different. We're doing pretty short boil times.
Hmm.
So we're in the like sometimes 30-minute to hour range
Hmm.
for boils, and they're very low, very slow, tempered back with the boiler. Um, really just to keep as many proteins intact as we can in the kettle. Um, we're not doing any sort of like nitrogen flushing through the kettle right now, but that's something we're exploring doing just to help drive off even more potential DMS
Hmm.
precursors and development. Uh, so I say that's yeah, really just for keeping those proteins intact as much as we can. We are full pooling, so I'm knocking down after that. Uh, really, we'll call it kind of a hot hold because it's not a true rolling, ripping boil. So
Hmm.
after that hot hold, knocking things down pretty low, uh, 165 to 170 range, we're cool pulling at. And then typically in the range with like a T90 of like 2 to 2.5 pounds per barrel in the
Okay.
whirlpool.
Hmm.
That's kind of the starting point
Hmm.
there. And then we are knocking out hot typically through a kind of a loop I build that has a flowable product typically packed into some sight glasses or something.
Hmm.
Usually I'm in the 250 to 500 gram range
Okay.
of something like a Dynaboost for a 10 barrel batch.
Hmm.
But yeah, just pushing that first barrel hot through the heat X through that loop that's packed with the flowables and getting those mixed in really well
Yeah.
in the fermenter. I've played around with some different techniques, and I found at least with what we have going on, that's the best way to just get things integrated. Otherwise, those tend to stick on the wall of the kettle or glob up and somewhere on the cone inside the tank if you're doing like the Kelsey method and
Yeah,
getting it in even just hot with the knockout from the top. So
for sure.
um, yeah, that's kind of the where we start everything. Typically, it's Citra in the whirlpool for
Hmm.
us, and usually like a Citra or Mosaic or sometimes a Simcoe kind of Dynaboost product or other flowable incognito. So
Hmm. And then when you are dry hopping, do you do like a multi-schedule dry hop? Do you just do one? And what's that like amount that you do per barrel?
yeah, so it's definitely always ever changing and being experimented with. But in general, we aren't putting anything as far as vegetal matter in early into fermentation. We're letting things reach, theoretical terminal um, before any sort of like hop additions. So I do harvest off our hazies. I'm
Hmm.
able to, and typically only go on 3, 4 generations. So that allows me to, yeah, keep yeast in house all the time, which is nice. And I am doing sort of like a kind of a pre-spun, building a little bit of pressure right at that tail end of primary fermentation before hops, using that pressure to uh, harvest or shave yeast,
Hmm.
and then slow, gradual drop in pressure back down, and then introducing hops in either 1 or 2 stages.
Hmm.
Um, kind of with our setup, it's a little bit easier to get more in into 2 stages. Um, so that's kind of been where I've been at least for now. But yeah, always capping the tank, typically always capping the tank after any sort of hops go in just to try to maintain as many volatiles as possible. And
Hmm.
um, yeah, always experimenting with rousing and when to rouse, how much to rouse,
Yeah.
if I shouldn't rouse,
To
when should
round.
I shave? Yeah. So and
Both.
that's always ever changing, but yeah, on and
Yeah.
off the hops generally pretty quick for us. And I'd say something like our house hazy. I think we're in the 5 to 5.5 pounds per barrel range between whirlpool and dry hop, probably like a 70-30 split, 70 in the dry hop, 30 in the whirlpool.
Okay.
And we don't typically go over 8 pounds per barrel. We have, but um, for anything that's kind of a one off or something we're really trying to push the limits on, we'll
Mhm.
usually play in that 6 to 8 pounds per barrel
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
realm.
Nice. Well, heck yeah. We are going to take a short break for this message and then come right back for more of this conversation with Rob Bessett of Milieu Fermentation Company.
Today's episode is brought to you by StompStickers.com, trusted by thousands of breweries across the country. They've been printing for over 30 years, and they know beer branding inside and out. Whether you need beer labels, keg collars, coasters, beer boxes, or more, they've got the expertise you need, all backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Try your first run with stompstickers.com and get 15% off with code TRY15. That's TRY15 by visiting stompstickers.com. This German flavor break is brought to you by Weyermann Specialty Malts, crafted in Bamberg, Germany, and trusted by brewers worldwide for depth, color, and flavor. With a portfolio of over 90 malts, Weyermann provides the tools to build anything from crisp pilsners with Pilsner Malt to rich Märzens layered with Munich and Vienna. Even complex dark beers using Caramunich and Special W. Whether you're refining a classic European style or pushing modern recipes, order Weyermann from RahrBSG. As an industry-leading keg management partner, Keg Logistics delivers premium stainless steel kegs with the flexibility you truly need. Whether you're kegging your first batch or scaling your distribution, choose the program that fits. Rent to own, flexible term leasing, or pay per fill. Get top quality kegs without massive upfront costs and terms that grow with you. Thousands of brewers, cider makers, and wineries trust Keg Logistics to keep production flowing. Head to keglogistics.com/allaboutbeer for your custom quote. Keg Logistics, your kegs, your choice.
Welcome back. We talked a lot about hazy IPAs, which has been super interesting for me personally, and hopefully for other people. I do want to talk to you about your barrel age stuff. So we touched a little bit on, you've kind of had a passion for barrel age, for oak stuff early on in your career. And I know, what did you guys win for at FOBAB? Was it a couple of years ago, or did you just win? I can't remember.
So that was what year is it? That was shit. Was that winter 2024?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like, I feel like it was
Yep.
a
Yeah,
couple
it
of
was
years
winter
ago.
2024. So we won for mixed culture, uh, Brett, in like the sour category for that.
Heck yeah. Yeah. It's something that I don't really have experience in. Like Jacob has a ton of experience working at OMF doing like Brett beer, food or age stuff. So yeah, I kind of want to ask a little bit more about that. Like, did you start off doing mixed culture stuff? Did it really start off as like barrel aged stouts and then you kind of ventured into that? What's been your like experience going through that?
Yeah, mixed culture really sunk its teeth in me first. And that's where I started playing around with and just with my interest in microbiome
Hmm.
science shit. I yeah, really gravitated towards mixed culture fermentation. Yeah, just how Saccharomyces, Brettanomyces, Lactobacillus, and all these other different wild yeast types kind of integrate and play in a closed system per
Hmm.
se. Um, so that's really where my interest was immediately. I was lucky when I was in brewing school. I lived across the street from Primitive Beer. They make incredible methode traditionnel, lambic and booze inspired beers,
Yeah.
and worked in their tap room with them a little bit. I did a project kind of categorizing and looking at the progression of these different mixed culture organisms throughout the aging process of his lambic and booze inspired beer. So
Nice.
that was a lot of fun, and we learned quite a bit. It's definitely a project that we've talked about bringing back in the
Hmm.
future and exploring and doing some DNA sequencing on some things and really diving deeper. But yeah, so that's where my nerddom for that really kind of all stemmed from. And then found myself working at Verboten. Um, and that's really where I dove in a lot deeper with the barley wine and stout. And um,
Hmm.
look them up. They have an incredible lineage as far as award winning barley wines and stout.
For sure.
Kind of working their way into the goat territory for
Yeah.
that style for sure. So I learned a ton there, had a huge blending stock. I feel like that's where I really got to cut my teeth as far as blending stout and barley wine, which has been was really great. So yeah, really it was all those things that culminated in me just having just a desire to do as much as I possibly can here. We
Yeah.
don't have a ton of oak, but it's enough to blend with a little bit. Typically, our blends are 1 to 3 barrels in size. I guess
Okay.
one isn't a blend at all, but a single barrel to 3 barrels and blend in as far as volume.
Hmm.
But we definitely get as much out there as we can.
Yeah, for sure. When you're doing like the blending stuff, do you have, I guess similar to like hazy IPA stuff, are you thinking of like an end flavor, or are you tasting every barrel and kind of being like, okay, I think a little bit of this, maybe more of this barrel will be good as a blend? Yeah, what's your process on that?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of look at it as a palette. You kind of have to work, when you have a table full of taster glasses of everything you have for a potential blend. Uh,
Mhm.
First, going through looking at them individually, it's I find a lot of times they'll kind of tell you what they want
Mhm.
themselves. Um, Whether that some ask for being fruited, some ask for more time, some
Mhm.
ask to be cut as far as cut their acidity down or cut the spirit character, the just the dryness of the oak character.
Mhm.
Um, Depending what it is. So I look at them, yeah, individually first, see what they're asking for, see if there's anything immediately that are tying these together. And then, yeah, just putting them together and sensory, 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 and
Yeah.
more sensory. And if it feels right, generally it'll work. And
Yeah.
it's always a little bit of a risk, but
Yeah.
I find that's the fun part. And
Exactly.
I'm a big proponent of letting things sit for a long time after they're blended together,
Mhm.
especially mixed culture. But even stout and barley wines, letting things melt together, get them cold,
Mhm.
let them lager in essence,
Yeah.
let them clean up.
Nice. How do you feel like, since, obviously business owner, how do you feel like those products sell for you? And also, how are you selling them? Are you putting them on tap? Are you in bottles? Or yeah, what's the details with the market on that?
Yeah, slow for
Yeah.
sure. But I feel we're fortunate enough to move a decent amount of it, at least what we produce out of our tap room. We
Mhm.
expect every release to sit around for a while, and they
Yeah.
easily have the legs to be available for sale for up to a year, I feel, especially the mixed culture stuff. So we don't mind sitting on it. It's kind of always part of the plan. And we feel that it's a really great a part of the customer experience to be able to look back, see even if there's some sort of like vintage or vertical they can play
Hmm.
around with or look at last year's release or something like that. So we don't
Yeah.
mind having it around in the tap room and having more of a variety for people to get into.
Hmm.
With that said, we're doing both draft and package to go. Um, we're pretty much all cans for the most part. So things like the beer that we won for Obab, it's a can conditioned beer
Okay, nice.
that we'll be blending here again soon. And
Hmm.
um, yeah, just letting it sit for 4 months in cans and
Yeah.
patience. And when
Yeah.
it's ready, it's ready. So
It's such a bummer that like that because I feel like, when we both of us probably got into the industry, like sour beer mixed culture stuff was popping.
so hot,
It was
so
so
hot.
hot. Like I remember driving past Black Project, which unfortunately is now closed,
Yeah,
and there being a line down the block, like wrapped around the building for their bottle releases. And now it's like that kind of stuff is almost collecting dust on the shelves, and it's
100%.
really interesting to see that. Like, what do you think made that like drastic change in the market?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, because I never fell personally out of love, or I'd say even out of touch with brands like that. And I still seek them out and
Hmm.
love to partake in them. I don't know. It's like I feel like it's definitely more of an energy shift. I feel
Hmm.
like these days people are lining up for IPA, to be
Yeah.
honest. And um, just like anything, I feel that it is a cycle. And that's why I always like to keep doing it, because I think it will come back in vogue at some point, because there's 100% something there. And as far as stories go in beer brewing,
Yeah.
I think these beers really do it the best, because
Yeah.
there's so much that goes into it. So I think it'll turn around at some point. But yeah,
Mhm.
if I had to guess, it's everyone's focus has just shifted
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
Yeah. I know. It is really interesting. Like I feel like you make a good point with the story behind things. Is here at Full Frame, we like think about what's the story behind all of this. And I feel like we have an interesting one, so we try to talk about it all the time. But with like mixed culture stuff, especially with like cool ship beers, like I feel like that's such an interesting story. And maybe that's because I'm a nerd, but I feel like it's something cool to talk about outside of just like, yeah, I brewed this beer and put a bunch of hops in it. And it's interesting to us, the process. But I feel like the process behind mixed culture stuff is way more interesting. And it's just nobody seems to really care that much about it anymore, which is weird. But anyway,
Yeah. I don't know. I feel in general, people seem to be garnishing some more interest as far as what they're putting into their bodies, whether that be food or any type of beverage. And,
yeah,
ultimately, I feel like that can only come back to people that are in the tap room too, and asking more questions and
yeah.
being more receptive to education. And,
Hmm.
it's like maybe it is kind of having to take a step back and go back to an era where we needed to do a lot more education of the
Yeah,
general consumer. Um, I think us in Colorado, particularly, uh, are hashtag blessed with a really knowledgeable customer base
yeah.
in general. Um, so I don't know.
I agree. I agree. We're like in an interesting position because we get so many tourists being so close to like downtown and the train station and all that. But I feel like you guys, especially being by the hospital over there, because you're down in Aurora by Anschutz Hospital, and speaking from experience, there's a bunch of nerds that work there.
Mhm.
And they love, to know about beer. So I think it's like a great situation for you guys, or people are actually, coming in really interested in the science behind things. And what's your experience with what's your vibe in the tap room? Do you like try to tell your bartenders to educate people? I mean, I know you guys have a great menu that's like pretty descriptive, and do you even feel like you get a lot of questions from people? Because I know you occasionally jump behind the bar as well. Like what's your feeling about your general customers that come in?
Yeah, in general, I wouldn't say it's a ton of like really beer specific questions,
Hmm.
but we get a lot of questions about the brand, about the space. People are definitely interested in chatting.
Hmm.
Having the barrels in the tap room, people want to know what's going on. Um,
Yeah.
you can see straight into the brew house, so people are generally interested.
Hmm.
Um, Definitely not to the level of nerdom we are.
Yeah.
But I feel like people do care generally, especially here. Most people are coming in from a lab setting or a
Yeah.
hospital setting and scrubs or some sort of educational setting.
Right.
Um, so maybe that is a correlation. Um, yeah.
Yeah. So to kind of shift topics a little bit, I know that you guys are pretty into like pretty heavily distributing right now, heavily for your
Mhm.
size, and canning. Tell me a little bit about that. What size canning line do you guys have? What's your experience with doing production? Have you done it before in terms of like distro and canning?
Yeah. So kind of coming into the game from the start, from Big Thompson even, we were packaging and distributing, self-distribution there. But then when going to Verboten, I believe there was CSA and moved still a bunch of beer through those guys. And Ursula, we were pretty heavily into distribution, not at first, but that was a big push when I came in,
Mhm.
getting them to that point and trying to at least maximize the value of the space as much as we possibly could. So we knew going into it that it was something we had to do. We had the equipment, which was nice.
Mhm.
As far as equipment goes, we have a single head goose, which has been great.
Yeah.
Um, but it's slower
Yeah.
than other lines I've been able to work on in the past. But at the end of the
Mhm.
day, it gets beer into cans. It gets beer into cans with low oxygen and
Yeah.
just settle in and drink some low fills. So
Yeah.
gives
Yeah.
me and Andrew a chance to catch up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're cranking. So I'd say we're probably moving somewhere between 300 and 400 case equivalents a month, which for
Yeah.
us is a ton.
Yeah.
Um, and it's been, yeah, kind of just growing ever since. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're around that thing quite a bit.
Yeah. And you guys are in Colorado only, right?
Yep. Yeah. We are moving some stuff through to Vor, and we're definitely open to opportunities getting beer a little bit further out. So if anyone is looking to get milieu, feel free to reach out to Andrew Rob at miliufc.com.
Super sneaky plug. What
Always be selling.
always be selling. Business ownership life. I get it, dude. Um, what kind of what barrelage are you guys doing right now per year? Like where are you at?
Yeah. So last year we finished. So yes, last year was our first full year in operation. We finished, I think, just above 600
Okay.
barrels. When we opened up, I think we were on pace. It would have been probably like mid 400s, low 400s, when we opened in May. But then, yeah, this year we're ripping so far. So I'm hoping to at least break past 750 if we can. I
Mhm.
think there is opportunities with some gross and distribution opportunities that we could potentially push that towards the 1,000 barrel mark. I
Oh yeah.
look at empty tanks as missed opportunities generally. It's like I
Yeah.
like being able to keep things moving, keep things fresh,
Yeah.
keep tanks full.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job of it.
Thank
Um,
you.
we only have a few more minutes left, but I definitely wanted to touch in on your mycology business because I know that's like a relatively like new thing. How did that start? How's it going? What do you like doing right now with that?
Yeah, similar to beer. I think other mycologists and amateur mycologists come into it like naturally, whether through the trippy ones or
Yeah.
the gourmet ones. But we're pretty limited here as far as what we can actually get as far as like mushroom variation. And
Yeah.
I'm sick of seeing just shiitake and button mushrooms at the grocery
Right.
store. So that really what got me into cultivating it. I've been kind of like a hobbyist grower for a few years now,
Mhm.
and yeah, I don't know. You're coming up on 2 years old for the brewery, and I felt it was time to do something else in addition to the brewery. But it's been a lot of fun, and I feel they definitely inform each other. At the end of
Yeah,
the day, yeast is a fungus, so
right.
we're all in the same kingdom. So any exploration I can do there that can infer back to brewing is I only
Hmm.
see it as a good thing. And to really making your own food is an awesome thing.
It
Just like
is,
making your own drink is an awesome thing. So
right.
yeah, it was an easy thing for me at least to fall into
Hmm.
and really just garners a really quick appreciation and passion for.
Hmm. Hell yeah. I think it's super cool. I got a little bit, I started reading a lot about it and I was like, should I start doing this and grow a kit? But I've always lived in like super small spaces, like 600 square feet. And I just, have nowhere to really do that at this point, but it's super cool. I would love to come see it at some point.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me know if you ever want to venture back into it. I can get you hooked
Yeah.
up as far as like a small growing setup because it is fun. And we
Yeah.
focus more on like the functional mushrooms. So
Mhm.
things like cordyceps, reishi,
Yeah.
lion's mane,
Hmm.
also super hot right now. Um, Really, it all started because I was like, I want to make stuff to put into some sort of tonic or something to sell at the brewery.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Hell
now
yeah.
I'm
I think
down the
that's
rabbit
a great
hole.
idea. Yeah. I love that. So like just to wrap up our conversation a little bit, what are you looking forward to? Is there anything you want to talk about milieu that's going on in the future? Um, yeah, what's going on?
Yeah. So we just celebrated our second anniversary. Um, Very happy to have made it this far. I know you guys have celebrated your first, so
Yeah.
congratulations. It's no easy feat.
Yeah.
So I think we're just kind of happy, still just being here. It's
Mhm.
every day and every new opportunity we go into is still kind of blows my mind. So still kind of feel in the amazement state with things. I feel with the brewery. So still things still feel fresh and new and exciting, which I feel like is a really good place to be.
Mhm.
Um, there's a lot I'm excited about for the brewery. Nothing really off the head I can think about, but following along in our socials at Milieu Fermentation and all the stuff, will kind of get you an update on everything we're up to and where we may be, where we're pouring. We should be in Chicago again for FOBAB.
Yeah.
I think we're going to Yakima again for selection, and it's kind of a bunch of fun festivals here in the mountains. And
Yeah.
summertime's coming up, so it's gonna be busy. We're
Yeah.
gonna be out in the world and meeting a lot of people. So
Heck yeah.
it's a good
That
time to get
sounds
at
awesome.
us.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Well, thank you for doing this with me. I thought it was super fun. Rob will be back on the next episode of the show as the host, having a conversation with a brewer of his choosing. That will be on air next week, so make sure you tune in for that. A reminder, visit allaboutbeer.com and follow on social media at All About Beer. Um, and I think that's it. I'm Alyssa at Full Frame Beer. Thank you for listening to the Brewer to Brewer podcast.
Today's episode is brought to you by StompStickers.com, trusted by thousands of breweries across the country. They've been printing for over 30 years, and they know beer branding inside and out. Whether you need beer labels, keg collars, coasters, beer boxes, or more, they've got the expertise you need, all backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Try your first run with stompstickers.com and get 15% off with code TRY15. That's TRY15 by visiting stompstickers.com. Weyermann Flavor Break is brought to you by Weyermann Specialty Malts, crafted in Bamberg, Germany, and trusted by brewers worldwide for depth, color, and flavor. With a portfolio of over 90 malts, Weyermann provides the tools to build anything from crisp pilsners with Pilsner Malt to rich Märzens layered with Munich and Vienna. Even complex dark beers using Caramunich and Special W. Whether you're refining a classic European style or pushing modern recipes, order Weyermann from RahrBSG. As an industry-leading keg management partner, Keg Logistics delivers premium stainless steel kegs with the flexibility you truly need. Whether you're kegging your first batch or scaling your distribution, choose the program that fits. Rent to own, flexible term leasing, or pay per fill. Get top quality kegs without massive upfront costs and terms that grow with you. Thousands of brewers, cider makers, and wineries trust Keg Logistics to keep production flowing. Head to keglogistics.com/allaboutbeer for your custom quote. Keg Logistics, your kegs, your choice.